Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Traders, I'm running a free training today and you're going to learn my #1 trading system that gets up with a 90% success rate and how to find these trades using a secret scanning tool and how I can actually have all my trading done in less than 1 hour per day. So I'm running this free web class today. So go to johnslivetraining.com or the very first link in the description. So let's actually get straight into the markets right now. Okay. And the really interesting thing is, the really interesting thing is, let's do this here. Boom. Alrighty, guys. So the interesting thing about the actual stock market itself, okay, and what's going on right now in the stock market is that that right now we're getting a very big sort of a big move off this sort of where we are right now. And the interesting thing is that if you look back over time, okay, if you look back over say the monthly chart first, you can see how since 2009 we had a nice move up. 15, 16 we had this sort of pullback through here. Really not much going on, and then we had a very nice move up, and now it looks like we're just sort of they're just pushing it, and pushing it. And so by looking at that and by looking at the weekly chart, we can really see how that once we started to break out of these sort of levels through here, especially on the Dow Jones, all right, especially on the Dow Jones, we're sort of pushing up, and now we're pulling back through here. It looks like they're trying to really push this to the high side, and so by spending all this time going sideways, and now we're starting to create really nicely stair steps here. Stair step 1, stair step 2, and now we're really just breaking out of this sort of it was just a real sideways phase through here. As you can see, right? So all this sideways phase through here, and you can see that that's what's going on through there. So we had a bit of a breakdown, then it comes straight back up, and now we're really just rallying out of this level through here. So by looking at the actual Dow Jones and by looking at everything that's actually going on in the markets right now, it does look like that, especially what actually happened recently, right? We had a bit of a drop down, and isn't that interesting, guys? All right, isn't that interesting? Let me bring up the candlestick chart here for a minute, because I knew you like the candlestick charts. John, don't show the black bars. Show me the candlestick charts. So I cracked myself up. Isn't it really interesting, guys? Like, it's so fascinating, right, to think about this. Look at this. We had a bit of a drop down here, right? A bit of a gap down here on some news, right? And then suddenly what happens, right? We had a bit of a pullback. Probably got everyone freaked out saying this was going to be the top. And then suddenly a good jobs report comes out and we're starting to really just buoy, right? We're just going for it again. It's really interesting, right? To see that this pullback and then the rally. It was like this was sort of preordained, if that's the word. It was like it was sort of set up, right? Because we were moving up for quite some time, and we're due for some sort of a pullback anyway. So we did get a bit of a pullback, not much of a pullback, and then suddenly, bam, out of nowhere came a good jobs report. So it was like the market was waiting for a nice pullback to get long again. And so it was just really fascinating to see that that's what's going on through there. So if I look at say the S&P 500 as well too, guys, this is just on a steaming. It's on a steam. It's like there's nothing stopping this thing. There really isn't, and it's like you can jump in front of this and try to continue to short the market, right? You can just try to jump in front of it and try to short it. But my oh my, it's like with the S&P 500, right? We can see how that we've definitely had this sort of let me just take this off screen here, like a very, 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 very tight triangle pattern. And now we're just breaking out, right? We can see how it's squeezed up, and now they're just breaking out. The interesting thing is that more than likely, Donald Trump is probably going to be elected in the markets, in the stock market. And the interesting thing is that Paul Tudor Jones actually said on a recent talk that he had just recently that if Donald Trump is elected, which is probably likely to be elected, then that's probably going to equate to a 3,600 S&P. Now, I know that sounds crazy right now, but a 3,600 S&P. So this really, really, really does look like this sort of triangle pattern as we're just doing nothing here for a while. We had a big move up and then it just did nothing for a while. And now we're pushing up and now we had a little bit of a pullback towards this trend line. And now we're sort of pushing up. Oh my goodness. We can see how that this is really, really, really just, I could just see some really big moves out of this, guys. So do not try to be short this market right now until certain things happen. Right now, anything can happen. But if you're trying to short the Dow Jones or short the S&P or even short the Nasdaq, my goodness, guys, I truly believe we're getting ready for what we call a blow off top, and we haven't actually seen that yet. I don't believe. We had a big move up, and same with the Nasdaq, right? Look at the Nasdaq here. Nasdaq, same thing, right? Squeezed into this triangle pattern. And now look at this, squeezed up. And now we're just we held here, and now we broke out, and now we're just sort of holding here. This looks like it's about to go for a pretty big run. And all I see, guys, is a very, very, very bullish move out of this. But this does not equate to all stocks, guys. It's so important. Like right now, I'm actually short two different. I'm actually short one ETF, and you guys probably know what that is right now on a trading purposes anyway, not long term. But also I'm actually short one stock. So this has got nothing to do with the individual stocks itself. But when we're talking about the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P. It is just getting ready, guys. Like this is getting ready to really, really, really take off. And once again, I see the Dow Jones. I really see the Dow Jones up here around at least the 30,000 mark. At least that 30,000 mark, guys. Before we start to see, like, look at this here, right? Before we start to see potentially some reversal there. But this 30,000 Dow, guys, probably even a lot higher, is probably where we're likely to run to. This whole, I really believe we're about to see some really, really, really big moves out of these markets. And the good thing about that, guys, if you're prepared for this, right? If you're prepared for this move, that you can take advantage of it, where you can wait for really good trading opportunities to jump in on this big move up, right? You don't want to just jump in because, it looks like it's going to take a big move. I think it's going to make a big move. I'm going to jump in this. That's the wrong approach that you want to do with your trading. The most important thing to your trading is that you're having some confidence, right? So even though I believe we're likely to go for a big move up, I am still waiting for some sort of a good entry here on the Dow Jones. I'm still waiting for some sort of a good entry based on my trading plan. Again, if you go to johnslivetrading.com, you'll see my plan. But the whole thing here is, right, is like by looking out and understanding these markets and where they're going, it's like this is going to be big, right? This is going to be real big in the markets. And again, do not try to be picking this top right now because there is nothing, absolutely nothing on this chart. And that's why I released a training yesterday on my YouTube channel. And I released it yesterday, and it was a replay of a training that I did a few months ago. But the reason why I released it again yesterday was to try to remind you guys, if you haven't seen it, to show you every single market downturn starts to give you some patterns on that chart. And it does come down to something simple as that on the charts before we start to see some significant downturn. So that's the reason why, if you haven't seen that video that I did yesterday on my YouTube, I titled it Market Meltdown. And in that, I share with you, I went through all the stock market crashes in history, or over the last 100 years at least, and I walked you through what was the number one key pattern that we saw at the charts before? And you can clearly see the market gives you some sign of that happening. And that is not happening right now. It's like, this is so incredible. And the good thing about this is that there are stocks right now that are poised to make a real big move with this. And like I'm already positioned for some of these particular stocks. Like there's some few stocks out there, guys, right now that, oh my goodness, that they are just going to make some enormous moves over the next couple of months, and I'm positioned already for it. I was doing some analysis last week, and it's like, and just get ready for it, right? So anyway, I'm really excited for this time. I'm really, really, really excited. And the whole thing about this, guys, is that we can, it's like we can be so cranky about, oh, they manipulated the markets, and oh, they're going to keep pushing up until they're not happy, and all this sort of stuff, and and they're going to crash the market when they want to crash the market, and all this when whoever they are going to do that. You can use that as a storyline, as like, yeah, they, right? But the whole thing is like, who cares about what they do? And if we realize that they, whoever they are going to keep pushing this market higher, why not look for really good long opportunities and go with they to benefit with they? Right? It's like, who cares about the market being manipulated and all this sort of stuff? And they're going to keep pushing it, and oh, they're going to keep manipulating the market. They're going to keep pushing the market. They're never going to let this market crash. Well, guess what? If that's true, then just keep going with it. Keep riding it. Enjoy, if this is going to go through a big move, then enjoy and, position yourself so you can benefit from that as well too, while keeping your risk under check. And so, guys, that's what I'm seeing right now with the Dow Jones and the S&P 500, guys. Once again, when you go to johnslivetraining.com, you'll be able to see how I trade the markets and what sort of setups I look for, especially in this current market right now. And there's so many good really opportunities right now with this volatile market. Be excited about this, but be patient in waiting for good setups. This is an amazing time to do well, guys. Amazing, amazing, amazing time. And I'm so excited. But on the flip side, don't just be willy-nilly just getting into things because you think it's a good idea. You need an exact plan. You need an exact pattern, right? You need something to give you confidence. So anyway, guys, again, johnslivetraining.com if you want to see my plan. I teach you my plan so you can start to use it. On the free training, I teach you it so you can start to at least apply some of that to your trading right now today. So, and so, guys, the whole thing about this, guys, is that it's just, again, guys, I'm so excited. I know I just keep saying that, but if we can see what the market's likely to have, at least for the next couple of months, we can be just so excited for this and so good for this. It's like, oh my goodness, this is going to be amazing. This is going to be amazing. And it really is. Because I know a few stocks off the top of my head right now, and I'll get into those a bit later on, that just, oh my goodness, we are just set to see what I call a blast off move. And it's just, I noticed these few stocks by doing my analysis and my research and stuff like that. It's like, these stocks are going to make a big move, real big move.